Express yourself. Hello, and welcome back to the Feminine Expressions Talks, where we invite the wisdom of women and rediscover the feminine ways. My name is Antje, I am your host, and today I'm here with my friend Mandy Dietel, who I know from probably 20 years ago from Berlin, where we both grew up. And today I'm very, very excited to hear Mandy's story. Welcome.
Hello.
So to begin, would you introduce yourself just with a few words so people know what you're doing?
Okay, so my name is Mandy Dietel, and I am energy medicine woman, and I do sacred healing arts and intuitive development and ascension topics, and I work with people to integrate their higher consciousness into the physical body.
Nice, thank you. I was going to ask what that is, so you brought the explanation. That's good. So yeah. Let's start right at the beginning. How did you get into that kind of work?
Where's the starting point? I think the full awakening started 2012, or basically when I came to the US. Yeah, but of course, all life is prior. It's like a continuous evolution since we're born. So, but I had very, very traumatic experience very early. Like my mother died and I had a car accident, and when I asked to show me a sign where she is, they sent me UFOs instead of something else. Or like, what? And when I came to the US, I had another car accident, and it was the same age my daughter was when I had my first accident. And I was, after that, taken out of the body and shown the city of light, and everything started to shift in my consciousness. I was not aware that this exists, that we are infinite beings, but I had prior to that already questioned, what am I here for? I'm not just here for to live life like that. I mean, there must be something more. And I got it answered quite strongly. So, and it was like the car accident happened not just by itself. It was like something lifted my car and I couldn't steer it anymore. And I felt like, because also all cars around me disappeared, and it was a six lane highway in Texas. So usually there are plenty of cars and it's like boom, 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 but there was no car around me, and it just like something lifted and I was just like, it was like a beam, like, whoop, and it put me into the sideline. So I had the car crashed into the sides, and during that, it's like, when you know this might be the end now, then it's like your consciousness does this film like. And I was like, okay, this is over. And interestingly is when you have these near-death experiences that you all of a sudden remember you've done that thousands of times. It's not just the first time. And afterwards, things started to shift in my spine as well. And I went to a chiropractor that adjusted me, and she seemed to open a chakra in my neck that was blocked. So all of a sudden, the life force that wasn't able to flow for years, all of a sudden had an outlet. And then the energies started to shift and my body started to completely overhaul. Like I started to build another body while part of me was dying. It was like you're watching yourself dying and rebirthing at the same time. And I had guides showing up around me. I couldn't see them, but I could feel them, and I felt their presence, and they worked on me, and I found it, part of me, exciting. The other one was terrified of what's going on here. But it felt so safe, so that I could just, I was just, part of me was just happy to just let go of all that blah that I carried. And my life started changing. I started to clean up my diet, started healing work, did my Reiki master, went into channeling, just connect with parts that are from different dimensions and learn about that, studied that. And that evolved over the last years. And for me, on my heart is very much the bringing the cosmic consciousness to the planet. So combining Earth and the cosmos. So
Nice.
yeah, the star seeds, and I don't know why that is important, but they constantly tell me that's important on your path. So mention that.
Good.
I am. Yeah. And in Egypt, I went into Egypt, and what I experienced there was mind blowing. So, but that's another day.
Yeah, maybe later.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. We got this parallel that part of the awakening started with like a crash because, well, as you know, I had the car accident as well. I was not sitting in the car though. I was hit by a car. And for me, since then, for like, I would say probably over 10 years, my body had been restructuring. And it was like a gradual process. It started with my face was broken. So it was first the one side of my face, then one side of my body. And then slowly, of course, I worked on it and I tried to find my middle because I felt so unbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I had two bodies. And I literally could feel like two different energies in my body.
Yeah.
Like my left body was much more not physical, much more like vibrational. I could feel people's vibrations. And when they would stand on my right side, it would feel totally different. It would be much more material, much more dense. And this would be much like lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's like, I wonder how, like, what did you do to help yourself integrating this? Because I felt like for me, during this time, I really like, I got into yoga, into Tai Chi, into like all these things, all the stuff that I learned basically came in this phase, meditation, like all kinds of things, because I was trying to do something for myself. I had like this this urge to learn about it and to, I don't know, to heal it basically, to bring myself back into balance.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, what are the things that you would say really, really helped you in dealing with all of that change in you?
Well, my personal go-to is the energy work. What has been awakened was clearly that we are absolutely capable of moving energy with the field. So that was so strong for me. So all of a sudden I realized, there's energy coming out of my hands and it can do anything. Like, wow. But not everyone is open for that. So you have to always, like, just because you know it's working, it doesn't mean the person in front of you knows. And art helped me a lot to activate I think, is it the right brain? Like the intuitive side more.
Yeah.
So, and it became actually part of me that is part of my healing work, that I paint people's energy field, or I paint their chakra system, or the energies that work with them. And it looks really, for every person, so differently. It's amazing. It's like a translation of vibration, basically. But it's so healing, because when people look at this, they somehow recognize themselves, or they recognize a part of themselves, and it activates the DNA. That's actually the whole purpose of it. So I can actually, when people hold the energy, the pictures, and they look at them, I can feel how their brain starts like light up. It's pretty cool. And then that will be translated into the entire body, because we're multidimensional, right? So art helped a lot. I have to really say that physical movement is a must. for healing. Be it dance, be it walking in nature, be it yoga, be it some kind of exercise that feels good for you. I'm doing my yoga teacher training right now, and I noticed that I always thought, oh, it's okay to just do once yoga. I noticed that when I do it consistently every day, that's the whole deal. It's like, that's the deal. It's not just that, oh, I just do it once, or I just do it twice. But I feel like a continuous practice of movement is absolutely important for spiritual integration.
Yeah, that
Conscious,
makes a lot of sense for me.
Conscious movement. Because you're consciously moving your body, you're consciously connecting with your body, you're consciously connecting with yourself, loving yourself, looking where you can go further, looking where you have to heal, looking at, that dialogue with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, that's like the thing that I feel is like this, where's the spirituality going right now? It's like going back into the body and back to like really honor this vessel that we've been given, and to really learn to communicate with ourselves again, to really see all the different layers, because we are more than this bone and flesh and blood. We are much more than that. And once you get into working with the body, whichever way it is, you automatically learn about your field. Like, I know that I learned that when I was a little kid in dance class, I would know what the person behind me does. That's why they would put me in the front, because I would react to what the person did behind me, even though I didn't look at them. I didn't have to see it. I could feel it.
Yeah.
And that's like really a skill that you can learn with practice. Right. And then also what I find, like for me, one of the biggest parts in yoga is the breathing. And that's really, I mean, I got lucky because I was in dance school, and there you learn to do the deep abdominal breathing. So for me, it's natural. I think I just grew up with it. But I feel like with a lot of people, once they learn how to breathe all the way into their body, that's like the first moment where you actually connect with your body, where you actually feel like, oh, I can feel inside of me. I can feel my belly. I can, and it's not just when the belly is like grumpy or something. I can actually like move and that's like also the start of moving energy, is moving the air inside of you.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And it's also a conscious, you give basically the higher self a symbol, a sign, actually. Look, I'm going inside now. Now's the time to bring in the healing.
Nice. So when you do healing work, how is your healing work? What is your healing work that you can offer?
Yeah. It's always a little bit different, but mostly it's because already, since we do so much energy work, our field is already doing that by itself, right? So certain people are made for that. And so as soon as people connect with us with the intention to do healing, it starts already the process. It's really fascinating. You do an appointment in 2 weeks, yeah, and the healing starts that moment when you said, okay, I'm going to do that. Because it's like you're giving the universe the go, the green light. Okay, I want to change something. There is something I want to look at, and I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to open the doors. And it's just a self-discovery. So with each person, and so when I work online, we can do it through a dialogue, but also through remote healing. So we just look into the patterns that are stagnant in the body, and then we're going to shift it, because that's where you block yourself, basically. So on the Skype session, it would look like that. Since there is no time and space anyways, it happens in the now. So whatever I'm doing here is affecting you there right now. When people come to me, I like to work on a table or on the ground, and I just invite the beautiful energies and feel into the areas that are out of balance, and I shift them back into balance. And I usually do it with my hands or with my voice or with sound. Yeah. It's hard to explain it because once you step into that field, it's just like it starts to happen. It's magic.
So it's like a very intuitive process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you tune yourself in somehow? Like, do you have some kind of practice to deepen into that space, or are you just always there? Because I feel like for me, for example, that's what I appreciated when I learned Reiki, that I actually had this little ritual to get into that space. Because I also, at one point my hands just started vibrating and I was like, oh, crazy, like, wow, what's happening now? But then to actually learn, like, literally this ritual of getting ready, of directing the energy, like for me, that was really helpful. So do you have any practice that you do to, get to that place where you can just intuitively do whatever you do?
No longer. I don't need it anymore. It was in the beginning very important to center my energy. And now it's more automatic. So, but I still feel like, depending on where you are and when you have an appointment, it's always good to set an intention for the person and for yourself, and to look, and you can, prior to the session, ask what will the person need and what will we focus on. But it's, yeah. But of course, I have anyways everyday meditation practice, everyday yoga practice where I already center myself. So otherwise I couldn't do the work. So that needs to be, that goes hand in hand, basically.
So for someone who's just starting with energy work, that would be a recommendation, to just find yourself a practice that centers you?
Meditation. I would say always meditation. Start with meditation. And there you connect with yourself, and there you connect with your abilities also.
Yeah.
I think meditation, some people say it's not necessary. I think there's no way around that. And meditation is, if you really get the hang of it, or you taste the sweetness of meditation, you will never ever go, you're not missing it out. And you notice when you're not meditating that, I need to get back into my meditation practice.
So what kind of meditation do you? Okay, now the door's closed. So what was your first meditation practice? Like, how did you start?
That's interesting.
Yeah, because for me it's like meditation practice, I think of something, but I have to like schedule it and like stay on it, and it's like hard work. But really? I'm guessing it doesn't have to be that way.
No. So I want to mention that I have on my website 3 guided meditations that they have a different flavor to them. So I have one that is an inner child meditation, and I have a chakra pillar Taurus field meditation, and I have light language transmission. You can go and do that. I feel like once you get the taste of the power of energy medicine, it's like there's no way that I don't want to do it. For me, at least, it's that way. But I see there is a progression in that. My first meditation practice, and this is really funny, it started after the car accident, and I'm going to mention that now because it's quite unusual, I think. I received a music video from Hang Mastiff, and those guys in that video, one of them it would start, like, the whole energy started me, and I was just like, who is that? And for some reason, I had to sit down, and I saw him coming towards me, and he sat down with me, and he put his hand on my heart and his hand on his heart, closed his eyes, and he sat there with me meditating. This is crazy. And I just started bawling, he opened something and it was just like, so there was no actual physical person. It was literally like a hologram that came towards me, showed me that. And now I understand that is the tantra of the heart.
Wow, I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, my first meditation practice was Vipassana, which for me was very strict. And I mean, the experience itself, it's like you are you go to a center and you stay there for 10 days and you give away everything you got, like your phone and even notebooks. Like, I mean, literally you do nothing but meditate all day. And it's hard for a few days. And like you basically talk to yourself all the time. And then you realize you're talking to yourself all the time. And it's like, what? And then I remember like on the 8th day, after 8 days, I had this moment of clarity and silence. And that's really something that, you know, still until now, I'm like, wow, this was such an amazing moment, because it's like so cool when the chatter stops, you know, when it's just like clear. And I had this really crazy experience there, because you don't talk. For 9 days, you don't talk at all to anyone. And on the 10th day, you're allowed to talk again. And in the beginning, it feels like so strange to even, you know, there's nothing that should be said. You know, it's like, I don't want to talk. Like literally, you know, I was like, I'm going back into the meditation hall. I don't want to talk to all these people here. But then eventually I started talking, and I talked to this one girl, and we were like literally in the bathroom, because we didn't want to interrupt anyone else, like disturb anyone else until like late at night. We were like, and then after that, I went to bed, and I had this amazing experience where literally I felt my heart, and I had this, it felt like a warm glowing liquid moving from my heart into my throat, and it opened my throat up. And you talked about opening the throat before, and it's like really for me one of the places where I know, I mean, I think in society and like a lot of people, this is like a stuck place, because of all the communication and all that we have, and because of all the lies that are being told and all the, you know, all the communication things. I think there's a lot of stuck energy there. But yeah, so for me, the act of not talking, the act of silence actually opened my communication.
Beautiful.
And, yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It's beautiful. Yeah. Yes, but it's literally that draws you back, because there's so much more to discover. It's not just the peace and the quiet. For me, it's a multidimensional experience. I know that this is where I connect to the higher self. This is where I connect to the divine. Because, of course, as soon as you open your eyes, your focus is outward. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you close the eyes, the focus goes inward. There's no other, you know, that's why it's important. Close your eyes and be there. I feel it's very powerful to do it in a group. I feel when you start meditating that it's good to do it at home, but I find it more powerful to go into a group that does that, because first of all, you have a a bigger effect. It grows more. You can also exchange your experiences. Very important, I feel, because we are all so different. Meditation will never look the same for each other. For some, it's, you know, in the beginning, there was not a lot of, I mean, I think throughout the years there were meditation where nothing happens and you're just like, but it's like a muscle. You build that, and then it's like, it's just so beautiful that I wouldn't want to miss it. And I mean, my yoga teacher trainer, for example, he's all into meditation, and he's 71, and even him still, you know, there's no, meditation will not get boring ever. There's always a deeper layer of yourself and of dimensions that you can access. It's infinite. So it's not just boring. Some people think it's boring. It's not.
Yeah, I think the idea is like to just do nothing, but actually you're not doing nothing. It's like you do a lot of things. It's just not, you don't do stuff outwards. Like just
It's
as you
breaking
said,
out.
you do stuff inside of you. And I work a lot with guided meditations. And I always feel when I guide a meditation, like I'm, I just start talking, I close my eyes, and this is where I go deep. And I remember when I tried it the first time, or when I like guided my first meditation, I was so like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God, and my voice was just so soothing to myself. I went in a deep trance, and then I forgot all about like what my plan was, because of course, I made a perfect plan. And then now I close my eyes, I have like some kind of idea, and then it goes from there, and it just goes. Yeah, and it's funny because I just basically tell the story that I feel coming up. And then this is like what's guiding the other people. And it's really interesting sometimes to see like how different the effect is on people. I often have come to a point where you receive a message, a gift, something from like your higher self, your inner voice, your whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see like what people actually receive, what they come out of the meditation with. I really, like that's like to be one of the most fascinating things, to find out what the other people actually get out of that.
Yes, that's why I'm saying the sharing that's the gift in it, right? So that's also the shamanic way. So I think that's when the fun comes in. It's funny when you have different. So when you do a guided meditation, you have groups that haven't had any experience, or you have those that already did a lot of work, and then oh my gosh, it's gonna be a light show. And with the other ones, it's just very gentle, very physical, very practical. There's no wrong or right. It's just, for me, it's the other part is a little bit more fun. But I just like to introduce people into meditation as well, because I think it's a gift. It's a jewel.
It definitely is a tool. I totally agree to that. It's one of our most powerful tools, and we don't need anything with it. Like that's the cool thing about it. It's like the same when you work with your voice, you just carry it with you at all times. You don't need to have an instrument. You need to buy an expensive so and so what and what. You just got it. You just got to open it. That's
yeah, and it takes time and practice, and I feel like that's what humanity is doing right now. So, and I think there's continuously progress.
Yeah. So where do you think it's going? I wonder.
Well, there's so many time markers right now. I don't want to predict anything. I just feel like I see so many timelines. I don't know. It's really an individual thing. I see always like I haven't seen it in a while, but in November, December was these two Earths, and you could see the like rainbow bridges that went from one Earth to the next. And what becomes really clear right now, okay, here we go. What becomes really clear, if you don't have practices, if you do not clean up your body, if you do not honor the earth, if you do not do these practices, you will not stay here. You will disintegrate. And that means your body gets sick and you go. You need to do it. It's like no longer an option. And it's not like spirit is mean or something. It's just like it's necessary. It's required.
Yeah, so it's even more important to teach a lot of people that, right? And also especially the young people, I feel.
Yeah, just stop eating trash and stop trashing earth, and be resourceful and find really simplicity, find simple solutions for living. We do not have to overconsume all the time. It's crazy. We can actually be happy and very simply living, and there's the abundance.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because to me, it's always like the discussion about abundance is so much about people wanting to have more. But I feel it's not actually that at all. It's like seeing what you already got, being aware of the abundance that you already live in. And then abundance for me comes with giving back. And that's a part that I feel we're starting to talk about more and more and starting to see more and more and more. It's like we have to relearn how to give back, how to give thanks, how to show gratitude for everything that we already do receive. And yeah, like for me, that's really where it's going, I hope.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And I'm not saying that there is no means to luxury, but luxury has its place too. It's just still, I mean, you really go deeper and ask what Earth would prefer. We are inhabiting her, and it becomes really loud lately. So like, how can I be more conscious with my buying, or with the things that I'm wearing, or with the can't we have finally another gas, another way to transport ourselves? Do we still have in 2019, although we have all the technologies already, do we still have to do fossil fuel? No. Where are they? Bring them out. Like, I feel like almost we're on such an edge where it's like, I mean, we cannot look away anymore. It's like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, right. It's funny because all the things are actually so obvious. It's like incredible how I always wonder that, like, how can people pretend it's not there? And what I find the most important, I think, is to look at how do you spend your energy? How do you spend your money, for example? Where does it go? Because if I look at all of that as an energy flow, I can direct that flow. I have the power, it's in my power to direct that flow and to decide, do I want to support this or do I want to support that?
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if somebody is interested in your healing work and in your spiritual work and in your work in general, how can we get in touch? How can we know more? How can we learn more?
Call me. Easy, huh? Send me a letter. I have a website which is called energymedicinewomen.net. And I like the net and not the com, because the net is it's behind you. It's the net, the connector. You can either send me an email or call me, or yeah. Then I live in the north of Atlanta in Georgia, so I'm available in this area, but I'm also open to travel anywhere to host workshops and yeah. Globally, I'm happy to travel. This is my intention for the next years, to go to the places where I can offer that and people are interested.
So what kind of workshops would you offer? Just like to get a little bit more concrete and deeper into it?
Yeah, multidimensional healing work, meditation practices that go into the shamanic teachings, and to just open yourselves to your cosmic self and to your life's, it's not a mission, but just why did you really come here? What do you want to create? Why go to the deeper parts of yourself that are yearning to connect with that heart's desire? So, and also really start healing emotional trauma, ancestral cleansing, clearing, but also creating new ways to build this new earth, finding collaborations, co-creations, not co-creation, but yeah, co-creation, collaboration of really tools that we can bring to the hospitals, or how can we change the medical system? I mean, the body can heal itself, but still, if we could just start to blend these things a little bit more so that they're not separate, that would be great.
I like that idea. So basically to take, well, I just wonder how would that look like?
And I'm not negating that hospitals are not needed. I think surgeons and doctors are doing an amazing job. I just think we don't have to cure with pharmacy.
Yeah. So basically that would be interesting to have a workshop for doctors in like higher dimensional healing.
So
because I always feel they're the ones that are basically on the problem, and it would be a good idea to take them away from the problem mind to the solution mind.
Exactly. Yeah. And instead of going right away for a quick fix, not having these actually a hospital is the quick fix solution because it got so out of whack that now you have to handle it like that. But what if a hospital has the other side where it has fountains where people can sit and meditate, salt rooms, color therapy. Yeah, it's having people bathe in purple light. I mean, hello, that would do so much. Like that, something like that. Or sound chambers where you go in and you are just immersed with sounds. And I mean, of course we can go outside and we go into a healing circle, but there's still a bigger population that still needs the bridging territory, yeah. So that are thinking, okay, I have to go to the hospital. Okay, when they go to the hospital, how amazing would it be if they get provided with that instead of someone who, gives them a pill?
True. Like, for example, to calm down, like there's so many different ways to calm down that don't involve a pharmaceutical drug. I mean, that's like, for me personally, I would never even think of that. I would always try like a million things first before I would probably, then, at one point I would go to plants.
Yeah.
But even before I go to plants, I would have a million other things to do.
Right. And often it's really just creating the space and having people around you that assure you it's gonna be all right. No matter what you're going through, it's gonna be all right. Whether sometimes dying it's all right, then that's also okay. Yeah. You didn't fail when you died. There's nothing you did wrong. It's just,
that's very true. Yeah, and it's like when the moment is there. I have this one experience. I mean, it's basically, I went to 2 funerals in my life, and one was my grandfather, and I visited him on his last living day. And literally that day, I was holding his hand the entire day, and we didn't like talk or anything. He was in the hospital. My grandma was there. My parents were there, and they would just let me sit there. And I was holding his hand, and my mind was constantly meditating on, it's okay to let go. You're okay. You're good like that. It's like, and I gave him the power to go. And in that night he died. And it was like really one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And I'm so grateful I could spend that last day with him. No, I'm crying. But yeah, that is really, it doesn't need a whole lot. It just needs like full attention and very conscious energy directing, because that was definitely like I was directing the energy. I was infusing him with the comfort and that feeling that it's okay to let go.
Yeah. That's yes, it is. It's you're the gatekeeper in that moment for the soul to travel.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Whew, I guess that probably had to go out. Well, thank you so much. And please, everyone, check out Mandy's website. There's very interesting blog too, and meditations that she mentioned. And look at the paintings, the very amazing paintings. And thank you all for listening, and thank you for talking to me. And I hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Antje. Thank you for sharing your beautiful stories and this feminine expression side. It's so needed and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you too.